Hello, everyone, and welcome back to They Don't Teach This in Law School. I'm your host, Charlie Mann of Law Firm Alchemy. And my guest is someone I'm really excited to talk with. We recently did a webinar. I think that when you get us together, the energy just becomes overwhelming. So be prepared for some fast talking, energetic discussion on marketing, business, things that excite us in the world. He's someone who's also had a huge impact on the marketing and business building of law firm owners everywhere. I actually got to know him better during the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, kind of trading some stuff back and forth before having him at some events that we were running. So I'm super excited to welcome to the show, Andy Stickel. Andy, great to have you here.
Thanks. Thanks for having me, Charlie. I'm excited to talk to you as always.
Yeah, man. So, all right, answer the question for me. What is the one thing they don't teach you in law school?
All right. So the one thing that they don't teach you in law school that a lot of lawyers believe, and I've been making it my life's mission to dispel this myth, is that there is no correlation with being good at your thing and getting paid for it. But there's a direct correlation with being good at growing your thing and marketing your thing and getting paid for it. So if you ever wonder why don't the best lawyers get clients, it's because there's no correlation with being the best lawyer and getting clients. But there is a direct correlation with knowing how to market yourself and how to grow a business and how to have team members and all those things and getting paid for it. So that's something they don't talk to you about. I talk to so many lawyers that think, well, I'm a better lawyer than that guy. Why should you get more clients? Well, you're a better lawyer, but he's better at other things. So let's level up that game.
That's right. Okay. So there are going to be, now, fortunately for this particular audience, maybe not too many fist shakers as you say that, but I know that you get fist shakers when you say a statement like that. And they go, well, how dare you? We're here to serve the client first and foremost. Make the case.
Okay. So at the end of the day, if you are just a great marketer and you suck at being a lawyer and you don't give good results, or you don't get good results, you don't get good service, you don't provide excellent representation, you will eventually be found out, right? So it's not what I'm not saying that you should just focus on marketing and not provide results for your clients. In fact, I wrote an entire book called 5-Star Attorney, which is all about how do you use amazing testimonials and social proof to continue to grow your law firm, right? But there's a lot of people that have this mindset that, we run lots of ads. I'm sure you've seen my ads all over Facebook and all over YouTube and everywhere. And we get comments usually once a week, we get a comment that says, lawyers shouldn't run ads. Just do a great job for your clients and you'll get lots of clients. And no, you won't. That's not yes, you'll get clients every once in a while from referrals. But if you want to grow a business that actually is like predictable and sustainable, and you can hire rock star employees who deliver even amazing results for your clients, like that's not how the world works. The biggest businesses in the world, Nike, Coca-Cola, the biggest law firms in the world, Morgan & Morgan, they all got there through advertising. They didn't get there from just doing a good job, because if you do a great job, no one's going to know who you are. You've got to actually master that side of the business. And that's kind of, as we talked about before, that's the hill that I'm dying on.
The hill you're dying on. What people don't know is the real hill that Andy would die on is that Curb Your Enthusiasm is better than Seinfeld. I'm just going to leave it there. Other people can grab their pitchforks and torches if they want. Andy's on all the socials. You can find him, send him the messages. Let's have fun with it.
I stand by that statement.
Good. Okay. So for lawyers, though, there is this sense of, I don't want to be involved in self-aggrandizement. I don't want to come across as crude and taking advantage of people. And, I just want to stand on me being that good lawyer. How do you handle the lawyer who's playing with that timidity?
So I think that there's a balance. It's not even a balance. I think there's a misconception that you have to put yourself out there in kind of a sleazy way, right? The way that I like doing all my marketing is one simple philosophy: prove you can help people by actually helping them. So if you look at the way that I market myself, most of my ads are value ads, meaning I teach you something in the ad and then they say, hey, if you want to learn more, buy my book, or hey, if you want to learn more, come to my event, or if you want to learn more, take this next action. But if you watch that ad and you don't do anything, you're still going to walk away with another piece of information. If you look at my YouTube channel, I've got 1,500 videos on there. Every single one of them helps a lawyer solve a small problem that they might be having in their law firm so that whether they hire me or not, and the reality is that most people that come in contact with me, most lawyers are never going to hire me. But
Right.
I'm able to impact a lot of people. And what's cool is that when people do come to me, it's a lot easier for them to trust me and understand that I do know what I'm talking about because I've already helped them solve a lot of small problems. So I think that the way that you have to market yourself and the way that you can market yourself in this new economy that we're in, it's not by just running ads saying, if you've been injured in a car accident, call me today. It's if you've been injured in a car accident, here's the 3 things you need to know that the insurance company is going to use against you to try to trick you and not pay you more money. Thing number 1, this. Thing number 2, this. Thing number 3. You know what I mean? Like provide value. And when you actually provide value that helps people, then what you're doing is you're seen as helpful and you're not seen as a nuisance. And people actually start to like you, which is really interesting. Like lawyers don't really like marketers because how many emails have they gotten just today alone saying, I can get you on the first page of Google. I can sell you leads. I can make your phone ring, blah, blah, blah. You know, but people come to me all the time and say, hey, can you do my marketing for me? And it's because I put myself out there, but I don't lead with me. I lead with giving value first. And if you do that, if you take that approach with your marketing, regardless of your business, especially law firms though, because everybody that comes to a law firm, they don't usually go there because good things are happening, right? So
Right.
I was trying to think, like, what's the situation when someone goes to a lawyer with good news? Like maybe they're adopting a child, maybe adopting like stepchild adoption or something. Like, but other than that,
Yeah.
somebody died, somebody got into a car accident, somebody got arrested, somebody's getting divorced. Like, there's not good news, you know? So everybody comes to lawyers with problems. And my theory is that if I help people solve the small problem, they'll eventually hire me for the big problem, right? And I think that's how lawyers have to look at it. So like if you're a bankruptcy attorney, the big problem is I got this mountain of debt. I got all this stuff. But the small problems are I can't buy a house. I'm driving a crappy car. You know, we're in an apartment and I've got 2 sons and they're sharing a bedroom and they're driving me freaking crazy because all they're doing is fighting all day long. And the bill collectors won't stop calling. Like, it's like, how do you fix all these small problems and help them solve all these small problems? And then eventually they'll hire you for the big problem, which is to handle the bankruptcy.
Well, you just kind of demonstrated the interesting spiraling nature of marketing, which is finding something that is rubbed a little bit raw and understanding that behind each little raw nerve, there's a deeper story. There is that spiraling of it can go from I'm stuck in a bad apartment to, oh, which means my sons are sharing a room together. And oh, by the way, they're getting older and they cannot deal with that. And now they're shouting. And now I feel like I can't get work done. And I'm looking at escape mechanisms for myself. And oh, maybe that means I'm starting to add the extra drink later at night, right? It's all of that spiraling stuff that people don't talk about. Now, what I hear is also you are a well-educated individual about the philosophy of marketing. I'm really curious, Andy, who you have studied, who has formed the principles you have today.
So I started with Russell Brunson, the ClickFunnels world. That led me to Dan Kennedy. That led me to a lot of just marketers. Honestly, I just read a lot of books. I love watching YouTube and I love watching. I'm always curious, but one of the things that I do that I think a lot of people don't do enough is I do this thing that I actually heard real estate agents do, and they call it farming, right? And basically, what they do is they look at other industries and they say, well, what works in this industry, maybe this will work in this industry. So basically what I do is I look at other industries and I just observe what people are doing. And I say, okay, that's interesting. So real estate agents are doing that. Maybe I could apply that to lawyers. And I look and say, oh, that restaurant, they're running that's really interesting how they're doing that. How could I take that idea and apply that to lawyers, right? So what's funny is that Dan Kennedy had this this quote, and Dan Kennedy's like the GOAT. You know, he's like he's one of the most well-known marketers of all time. Like, I guarantee you, if you've never heard his name, you've definitely seen things that he's worked on. Like Proactive is a great example where he took Proactive, the acne medication, and just made it just a household name, right? And he's done that for 20 other products. And one of the things that he said that gave me a lot of freedom is he said, I've never had an original idea, and I don't plan on ever having one. Which is so interesting because he does the exact same thing where he just looks, he says, okay, what's working in this industry? Okay, well, how can I apply what's working in the accounting space and apply it to lawyers? And how can I apply what's happening in, you know, e-commerce and apply it to restaurants or whatever it is, you know? So that's actually a big thing of what I do is I just kind of observe what other people are doing. And then I ask the question, because so many times I talk to lawyers like, yeah, that won't work for law firms. That won't work for, I can't do that. Yeah,
Yep.
restaurants have it easy. They can do coupons and stuff, but it's like, well, yeah, they can do that, but how can you take that concept and how can you make it work? It's ask a better question. Instead of saying I can't do it, it's ask the question, how can I do this? And it's kind of like I was talking to somebody, it's like when I was talking to my accountant the other day, right? So I try to write off all this crazy stuff. Like I tried to put I put in a swimming pool a couple years ago, and I said to my accountant, I was like, how can I write? I was like, can I write off this this swimming pool? And she said no. So I realized I have to talk to my accountant in a very specific way. Instead of saying, can I do this? And she's always going to say, I have to say, how can I write off this swimming pool? And then she comes back to me. She's like, well, you would have to do this. And, you know, and sometimes the answer is still no, but at least I get her thinking. And now I'm able to write stuff off. So it's basically like, it's asking the question, how can I do that? How can I take this concept that works here and apply it here? Like I had this thing where I was looking at, I was at the movies, right? And I was looking at the price of movie theater popcorn, right? So movie theater popcorn, they've usually got a small popcorn for like, I don't know, $4, right? And then they've got a medium popcorn for $6.50, and then they've got a large for $6.75, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Well, how could I apply that to law firms? Okay, well, if you're a divorce lawyer and you're trying to get people to take the premium offer, then what you do is you have like a $2,000 offer, which is just a crappy offer, which is basically like them doing it themselves, which doesn't seem like a good deal. And then you have a medium offer, which is kind of like, we'll call it the silver offer, where it's kind of whatever. But then for like $500 more, you get them to take the big pack. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just think about how do we position things? How do we look at what other people are having success with in other markets and apply it? Because if it's working in all these other markets, there's no reason that it can't work in another market. You just have to ask yourself, how do I apply those same principles to this market? And I mean, really, that's the secret of how I've learned marketing. Like I do read a lot of books, I follow a lot of people, but it's really just been observing what other people do and saying and asking the question, how can I apply this to lawyers?
Yeah, I mean, you're someone who clearly you've built the marketing brain, right? It is literally always working for you, where you can see these ideas. Now I have an interesting question, I think, or look at me, I'm saying my question is interesting before even asking it. How shameful of me. But what I'm interested in is the filter for you. So when you see that idea from, say, the popcorn prices, are there any points at which you go, or how do you determine something is interesting but not actually useful?
Well, I think I try a lot of stuff that doesn't work, and I think that's the difference between me and most people, is that I know that if I do 10 things, 8 of them probably are not going to work. And there's a misconception that marketing people have all the answers. And I think that's because marketing people like to pretend that they have all the answers, right? So you see these emails and we know how to get you leads and we know how to do this. But the reality is that nobody really knows the answer. Marketing is testing. And nobody wants to hear that. It's not sexy to say that in an ad, right? But truthfully, the reason that I create so much content is because I know that most of it isn't going to work, right? I create 20 ads knowing that 18 of them are going to fail, but I have to create those 20 to find the two that really knock it out of the park, right? So I think that the way to really it's really just, I just do a lot of stuff. I just try everything, and a lot of it doesn't work. And like, I don't look at things as like failure. I don't ever look at things as failure. I look at it as learning what didn't work, you know? Like I look at it as I ran these 10 ads, these 8, okay, well, those didn't work. So now I know that I don't do those again. Now I know that those 2 don't work. I know this one does work. So I don't think it's a matter of like trying to identify what's the good and the bad beforehand. It's you throw it all against the wall and you see what sticks.
I love that answer because it is simply the right answer. It's the same answer that I imagine you are giving to law firm owners. That's definitely the answer I'm giving to law firm owners. Is like at some point you just have to have a level of kinetic energy in the market. place. You know, you have to be, if you're not doing anything, guess what you're going to get? Nothing. If you're doing something, you'll start getting something and you can refine it. You know, it is that 80% of the things just won't work in marketing, but what you're looking for, and hey, that follows the Pareto principle, 80-20, 20% of what you do should produce 80% of the results. Now, I'm curious, when you go and you develop some of these ads, obviously, or I say obviously, you're not walking into it going, I don't know, I'm restarting the whole engine of how I even figure out the advertising process. When you go into advertising, what are you thinking about at the beginning?
So there's a few things that, and I'm always learning, by the way, but there's a few things that hold true. So it's kind of like you can start on third base or you can start on second base if you know some of the principles, right? So for example, one thing that most lawyers do that I see that is a very big mistake is they don't do something, and I'm talking specifically about advertisements. They don't do something right in the beginning that's going to capture attention. So most videos start with, hi, my name is John Smith, and I'm a family law attorney, and I've been practicing for the last 22 years, and we serve families in the Atlanta, Georgia area who are looking to start a new life. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and nobody watches
what you're talking about.
Right? Now, if you look at the most successful YouTubers, right? Look at Mr. Beast, for example. This is actually somebody I heard this reference the other day. It was so good. Watch Mr. Beast's videos. Mr. Beast videos consistently get 100 million views. Maybe not 100 million, 50 million views, 60 million views. I mean, tens of millions of views, right? Now, I understand you're a lawyer. You're not making Mr. Beast videos, right? But we can learn something from Mr. Beast. What he does in the first 5 seconds of that video is hooks you into the point where you've got to watch that video. He's like, his video starts, he's like, I took 10 people and put them in a private jet and lit them on fire, and the last one to stay in the jet wins $100,000. Now, and then like, and that's the video, right? It's not, hi, my name's Mr. Beast and I create crazy videos. And in this video, I took a bunch of, you know what I mean? Like, he just gets them in, right? So what I do is the first thing I do is I try to hook them in. I don't start with, hey, I'm Andy Stickel. I start with, do you want to get more clients for your law firm? Or I start with, are you tired of working nonstop 60, 70, 80 hours per week for not enough money? Well, if that's the case, then in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can work less and make more. Like that's a video that somebody that has that problem is going to be like, okay, I'm interested, you know? And that's a big difference between success, right? That like you could have a great video and share great content, but if your first 5 to 15 seconds is really boring, then people are going to leave because people have attitudes or people have attention spans of goldfish. Like people think that you're competing with, you know, other lawyers. You're not. You're competing with everything, especially when you're on social media. You're competing with cat videos. You're competing with politics. You're competing with pictures of people's family. You're competing with all kinds of stuff out there. And if you're not really, really interesting right away, they're going to leave.
Well, and I also think that there's a combination of, you know, sometimes most of the time I push back on the goldfish attention span, because what I think one of the issues is that when part of it is being interesting, but part of it is also, are you actually producing something that when the right person comes along, it is useful information for them, right? You talk about creating value, and when you, and oh my God, I just want to like play you doing that introduction of George Smith, the family law attorney, over and over again. Because man alive, how many videos have you and I seen that have that exact same format? And it's amazing, Andy, what you just demonstrated there. Like it shows that you have such a well-developed set of heuristics to launch into a video. Hey, here's my spiel. I'm going to go ahead and hook you. Great. Now I can go, here's who I am, here's what I do, and here's what's about to happen, your transformation through this video. So let's say that you've managed to hook someone because it's the right information for the individual. They're going, okay, you know, I've been hit in a car accident, da, 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 da. You've got them hooked. How do you keep them on the line?
Okay. So, the way that I keep them on the line usually, and I break this rule all the time, and I know better and I still do it. So I want to say that this is you know, I'm not perfect. I screw this up all the time because I just, for some reason, it's like, we know there's the right things to do and then we just don't do them. Right. But I know the answer. Right. So one of the concepts, and you're right about the goldfish attention span. What I'm really referring to with that goldfish attention span is the first like 5 seconds. Because
Yeah.
if you're not interested, if they don't know exactly what is the payoff that I'm going to get within the first 5 seconds, they're on to the next thing,
Yeah.
right? But if you give them something very interesting, then they will pay attention. But it's the first 5 seconds. So you are right about that. So one of the concepts that I use, there's actually a few different concepts that I use, but I'll give you a couple broad strokes. So one of the ones that I really like is the open loop. So what I'll do is I'll start a video and I'll say, did you know that there's one question you can ask? And when you answer this question, you could become a millionaire within the next year just by getting the answer to this question. Now, I'm going to tell you the answer to that question in a few minutes, but first I want you to think about something. So, like, you start an open loop, and I was just making that up. That wasn't the best example, but basically what you do is you start the open end. So the other thing is you do that with listicles. So if you remember the example I gave before with the 3 ways car insurance companies screw you out of your benefits, you can say, did you know that if you've been in a car accident, car insurance companies use 3 tricks so that they don't have to pay you as much money as they actually owe you? And I'm going to tell you what those tricks are in a few minutes. But the first thing I want to tell you know what I mean? And like, so lists, because people love the list. They love the open loop, stuff like that. Another thing that I use a lot that people typically don't look at enough, or they don't give enough value, and this is something that's really, really valuable, is the concept of people are much more willing to allow a stranger to lead them away from pain rather than toward pleasure. So what I mean by that is, imagine you're walking in a downtown area. So I live near Tampa. So imagine you're walking downtown Tampa, and there's some guy out there, and he's walking around, and he's got $100 bills holding up. He's like, free $100 bills, free $100 bills, come get your $100 bills. And like, would you be skeptical of that guy? Like, why is he like, I'm 40 years old. I've never seen anybody stand on the corner just giving out $100 bills. There's got to be some sort of catch, right? I'm probably going to get it, and it's going to have like, like church, you see the things where you pick it up and it's like, just kidding, Jesus loves you, It's going to be there's a catch. Nobody's just giving out $100 bills, right? So you're going to be skeptical of that person. Now, I want you to imagine, okay, so now you're walking downtown, and you're walking and you trip and you fall and you hit your head on the sidewalk, and you cut your head and you're bleeding, right? And somebody comes up to you, you don't know who they are, and they give you a towel and they help you up on their feet, and they sit you down on the curb, and they say, here, give me your phone, unlock it for me. I'm gonna call somebody so I can get you some help, right? You're more likely to probably unlock your phone, give them your phone, and let them help you, right?
Wow.
It's because people are much more likely to allow strangers to help them get out of pain than they are to lead them towards pleasure, right? So when you're creating ads, if it's a cold audience who doesn't know who you are, which most ads are going to a cold audience, you don't necessarily want to say, hey, I can help you start a new life, or hey, I can help you do this. What you instead want to do is, you instead want to lead them away from pain. So what I would do is I would say, are you working too much and making too little? Well, in this case, I'm going to show you how to stop working so much and how to start making more. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a fine balance there, but you talk about getting them out of pain so that they're much more likely to trust you. So that's like little nuance in the messaging, but it makes a huge difference in how people trust you, right? So those are a few things, but the number one thing has got to be, very quickly in the beginning, hook them in with something that they find interesting. And like I said, the best way to do it is watch Mr. Beast videos, watch YouTubers that have a lot of views, and you'll see all their videos start with something that hooks you in right away, and it's usually the payoff.
Oh yeah. My kids love the Mark Rober videos, and they hook me in every single time because he does a great job. The people who are the best at this type of game, and we're using video as an example, but like, it's true for all types of copywriting, all types of marketing. They all focus on understanding what triggers human interest and pulling them in. Now, because we're moving through the structure of it, I would love to touch on the close. Let's transition to getting someone to take the next step, right? Because we talk about, we would talk about direct response or direct marketing, which often has a call to action. And I think that that's where a lot of people who get good at content still stumble, is getting someone to take the next step. So how do you engineer, whether it's for a law firm, for yourself, you being the student that you are, that CTA, that next step, the close?
So I like to do something that I call a soft call to action. And
Mm.
basically, the general principle behind the soft call to action is you do a call to action in a very similar way that you would speak to a friend. So most people are used to seeing the TV attorneys where they say, if you've been injured in a car accident, call me today for a free consultation, right? So if you want to prove that you're different, then you've actually got to be different, right? You can't do
Mm.
this. You
A
can't say you're
novel
different and then
concept.
exactly you can't say you're different and then do the same crap that everyone else does, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that your consultation should be helpful. So what now if you're following the concept of
Careful with
creating
such
value,
radical statements as consultations being helpful, Andy.
yeah, it's weird, right? So if you're creating value in your ads, like I say, right? So let's say you're doing a video on the three ways that car insurance companies, the three tricks car insurance companies use to trick you out of paying as much as they owe you, right? At the
Mm.
end of that video, you should have some sort of call to action, but it should be a soft call to action. It should be, and that's so if you have any questions or you feel like maybe the car insurance company is trying to trick you out of money, contact me, send me a message, send me an email, give me a text message. Here's my phone number, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have and point you in the right direction if I can't help you, right? I mean, like just something very simple like that. Like here's how I think about it. If you let's say your college roommate, like one of your best friends from college calls you, right? And says, I was in a car accident, or I got arrested, or I got a DUI or whatever, right? Are you gonna say, okay, well, call me Friday for a free consultation? Or are you gonna say, okay, well, send me over your stuff. I'll take a look at what's going on, and I'll answer all your questions, and we'll figure out what your next steps are. Right?
Mm.
That's still a consultation. Like if somebody does that, you're still going to go through the whole spiel of the consultation. You're just it,
That's
it
right.
just feels helpful. It doesn't feel like a sales call. Somebody told me that marketing is all about how do you disguise the sales call, right? So it's like,
Yeah, agreed.
yeah, that's really what it is. So you don't want it to feel salesy. And then another cool tip that I love doing that so many people don't do, they say, call us for a free consultation, right? And they feel like because it's a free consultation that they just deserve to have people book the consultation and just show up to the consultation. Well, that's total BS. Even though it's free, you still have to sell it, right? So I like
Hmm.
doing something called the stack in the consultations, right? So imagine you have two criminal defense law firms and you get on the phone with them and they say, okay, well, we'll do a consultation on Friday. Okay, cool. Free consultation. All right, right. So the other one says, okay, cool. So, and first of all, and I like rebranding. I like rebranding the consultations. I don't like calling them, again, prove you're different by actually being different. So, okay, cool. So what we're going to do is I think you need to book a pre-jail, what do we call it? A pre-jail intervention session or something. I don't know. Make something up,
I
right?
liked it.
A pre-jail intervention session with attorney Mike, right? So here's what we do during these sessions. The first thing is bring in all your paperwork because what he's going to do is he's going to go through all of your paperwork. He's going to explain to you all the charges that you're facing. He's going to explain to you the fines you might be looking at. He's going to explain to you all the potential consequences, even if there's going to be any jail time or anything like that. Make sure you understand everything. Then he's going to review all of your police records and see if there's any weaknesses in the prosecution's case, see if they made any mistakes during the stop. And then basically what we'll do is we'll kind of look and see like what would the best defense be? Like what would our best plan of action be to kind of reduce the impact that this is going to have on your life? And then at the end, we'll kind of tell you what everything looks like and we'll give you a custom plan moving forward. We'll let you know what it looks like if you want to have us help you. Does that sound good? Okay, cool. That's what we're going to do at the session on Friday. Like one sounds way better and it
Oh, yeah.
sounds like a lot more value, even though both of them are probably going to do the same thing during the consultation. But when you, okay, so here's a great example of looking at other industries to apply this to. So look at late night infomercials, right?
Oh,
Late night
yeah.
infomercials. Have you ever seen the one where they sell the knife and they're like, you're going to buy the paring knife, but then when you buy the paring knife, you're also going to get the chef's knife. And you're going to get the sharpener, and you're going to get the wood block, and you're going to get the cutting board, and you're going to get the oil, and you're going to get this 74-page recipe book, right? All they're selling you is a knife block. But when you have an offer, the sum or a single offer broken down into its parts is always considered to be more valuable. right?
There you
And
go.
most people don't realize like what you're going to do during a consultation. They don't realize that every consultation, yeah, they're going to review the police record. Yeah, they're going to answer all your questions about what kind of jail time you're facing and everything. They don't realize that because they don't deal with this every single day. So when you break the offer
Yes.
down into its component parts, it seems way more valuable, and it seems like it's something completely different because nobody else, they're not getting that anywhere else. So that's how you sell the value and get people to actually show up to more consultations and see the value. Because at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't show up for the consultation, it's because they don't value it. They don't think there's value in it for them. And the more people you get to show up for the consultation, the more sales. I mean, consultation is a sales call. The more sales calls you do, the more likely you have to, the more likely you are to sign somebody up. So I don't remember the question, but I think that hopefully that answered it.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, that's huge on how to get more people to set appointments. It is also within the appointment itself, like all the framework that you talked about, this, you know, the beginning, middle, and end of it. It's not just a here's how you do it in marketing. That is sales as well. Yes, there's obviously there would be the difference of needing to introduce a price potentially if that comes up within the framework of a sales conversation in the appointment, but people get really hung up on that, and you know, maybe there's not even enough time in the day to go over the psychology of that issue. But yeah, I'm empathetic to it to a degree. But the framework that you use can be repeated over and over again in both micro and macro cycles. So like in the video, that might be a macro cycle, but in a single email that might be a pre-appointment reminder, you can repeat that exact same, let's hook them in, let's open a loop, let's close a loop, let's demonstrate a call to action to confirm the appointment by clicking the link, right? We can use this over and over and over again, because what you're talking about is not just a tactic. It is a strategy or a system to repeat over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you have the New Year, New You boot camp coming up through SMB. I'm curious real quick to hear a little bit about the transformation that's going to occur for firm owners there.
Yeah. So we've worked with, I mean, thousands of law firms at this point, and our mission is really simple. It's to help them basically put more profit in their pocket and more free time on their calendar, right? Because there's so many lawyers out there who don't make enough money for how much they work. Everybody, it's funny, everybody thinks that lawyers are rich, except for lawyers, right? You know, I mean, there's lawyers that do really well. I had somebody comment on one of my ads that was like, lawyers don't need marketing because all lawyers have yachts. Like lawyers are just issued a yacht when they graduate law school, right? And it's like, no, it's not. That's not true. I mean, yeah, there's lawyers that do. It's like everything else. There's lawyers that do well, and there's lawyers that are small business owners, just like everybody else, that are just trying to, you know, provide for their families, trying to, you know, take care of their employees, make sure they do a good job for their clients. And the reality is that so many lawyers don't. I mean, it's so cliche, but like we talked about, they don't teach you how to run a business in law school. And what's funny is that we come to lawyers come to us and they say, you know, it's an identity shift, first of all, right? So most lawyers think that they're a lawyer first, right? But the reality is that if you own a law firm, you're a business owner first. That business happens to be a law firm, and you happen to be a lawyer, in that order. Like if you're going to take this seriously, and if you're actually going to like have a successful law firm, that is absolutely how you have to look at it. So what we found is that over, you know, after working with thousands of lawyers, we found that there's a simple formula to creating a law firm that gives you more profit and gives you more free time, which is kind of what everybody's looking for. They want to make more money and they want to work on the things that they want to work on, right?
Yeah.
So there's 4 pieces, and the first is leads, right? If you don't have leads are kind of the lifeblood of everything. If you don't have leads, then you really, it's kind of like, it's like running a car without gasoline. You're not going anywhere, right? If you don't have leads. But the second problem that we see is intake. We see so many lawyers who don't have a good way to convert those leads into actual clients because they don't have a structured intake system, right? So at the event, we're going to teach leads, how like proven ways to predictably and reliably get leads. And then not only that, but how to actually convert those leads into paying clients. Now, once you have an intake system that converts the leads into paying clients, the next problem that we see is that, well, now I've got all this business and now I'm working 80 hours a week because I've got so much business and I can't hire anybody, right? Because like I talk to so many lawyers and they're like, yeah, it's so hard to hire people. You just can't hire good people. And that's actually not true. There's a certain way that you hire people, and we've cracked the code. Like at our company, we have rock star employees, like amazing employees, and we're always hiring people. We hired like 15 people just this month already. And we have a system for it, right? A system that is replicatable and teachable. So the third element is that once you start getting all these people, you need a team of rock star employees who run the law firm exactly how you want it run. So it runs like a well-oiled machine. That way you're not working 90 hours a week because, I mean, nobody wants to work 90 hours a week. And then so it's leads, it's intake, it's a team of rockstar employees. And then the fourth thing that everybody forgets about is profits, right? Because a lot of times you hire employees, you get more leads, and what happens is your expenses go like this. Sorry, your revenue goes like this, but your profits go, or your expenses go just carry along, and you don't actually make any profit, right? And a lot of times people look at profits and they're like, well, I don't want to be greedy. But the reality is, if you don't have profits, first of all, you can't change your life. You can't reinvest in your marketing. You can't grow your law firm. And the reality is that if you're really good at what you do, if you are like, if people come to your law firm and they leave your law firm in a better situation than when they came to you, then you have a moral obligation to do every single thing that you can possibly to get them to hire you. And that means that you need to invest in marketing to make yourself findable, because if they don't find you, they're going to hire somebody else who's not going to do as good of a job. And if you don't have profits, you can't spend more money to make yourself findable. You also can't spend the money to hire rockstar employees, because rockstar employees are not cheap. But rockstar employees are the key to making sure that your law firm runs itself, that they do an amazing job, and your clients get incredible results, right? And it's like this whole thing's a puzzle. It all just fits together when you have that. And then on top of that, if you don't have profits, then you can't live the life that other people only dream of, right? You can't provide for your family. You can't donate to charity. You can't do anything if you don't make a profit. So the final piece of that is profits. We teach you how to make profits. So that's what this event is basically about. It's teaching you how to make 2024 the best year of your life, how to grow a law firm that runs itself. And really, it's by focusing on these four areas: lead generation, intake, a self-managing team of rock stars, and a very profitable law firm. And when you do that, then great things happen. And we've helped lawyers. We've helped hundreds of lawyers, change their lives just through this simple framework. And that's what we're going to be teaching at the New Year, New You 2024 boot camp.
And if people are interested in learning more about that, where should they go? And then if they're interested in learning more about you, where should they go?
Yeah, they can just go to New Year Bootcamp, newyearbootcamp.com, newyearbootcamp.com. Awesome. And if they want to learn more about me, honestly, the best place to start is probably my YouTube channel. Just go and type lawyer marketing with Andrew Stickel. Actually, if you type lawyer marketing, you'll find me. Lawyer marketing with Andrew Stickel, you'll find me. And I've written a few books, 5-Star Attorney. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to Get Law Firm Client, or go to get5starreviews.com, or maybe just go to Amazon. I don't remember what the URL is. And I wrote another book called How to Get More Law Firm Clients Without Losing Time and Money or Getting Screwed by a Marketing Company, which you can get on Amazon also.
Awesome. Well, Andy, thank you. I'm going to ask you one more question. I appreciate your time. The last question here that I'm going to ask you, it's a simple 3-parter, is what are you reading, watching, and listening to these days?
Whew, that's a good question. All right. So what I'm reading right now, actually right here, is this book right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Confessions of a Persuasion Hitman by Ian Stanley. Have you read this book?
Yes.
It's really good, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about getting better at copy. And what was that? What am I reading? What am I watching? Let's see. What am I watching right now? I'm watching Welcome to Wrexham. That's been
nice.
Yeah, that's a great one. And actually, you know what I love about that is that it's really a marketing. That's a marketing. People don't realize that is a marketing tool that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are using to grow this soccer team, this football club, right? Because basically what they did is they're just documenting the journey of growing this soccer team, and that has made so much. That's made such a. I mean, I would never have even known what this team was had they not done a documentary about it, right? So there's another example of how can we look at what other people are doing and apply it to our businesses, right? So I was thinking about that. How can I document what I'm doing? Just have behind the scenes of just growing a marketing agency and doing all that stuff, right?
That's awesome.
And then
what are you listening to?
What am I listening to? Listening to the My First Million podcast.
Nice. I've heard that a few people.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I listen to My First Million podcast. I listen to Alex Hormozi. Always listen to Alex Hormozi. And those are really the ones that I listen to. I've got a couple other ones that aren't really that really aren't even coming up right now in my brain, so they must not be that important.
That's okay. Well, Andy, I appreciate your time, your energy, enthusiasm, and knowledge and wisdom here. Thank you so much for spending time with me.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
All right, and I will see you all in the next episode of They Don't Teach This in Law School.